things. If you want to do this, you want me to? You can do it. Yeah, okay. I can't hear it. Oh. Huh? Ah, thank you. Oh, thank you. Good morning. I'd like to welcome Reverend Dan King today. He's going to open our service.
Good morning, buenos dias. Welcome to the Bay Area Unitarian Universalist congregation in Clear Lake, Webster, or wherever the heck you are on this line. I don't know. My name is Dan King. I thought I should come the day after No Kings. My pronouns are he and him. And yesterday, I think Reverend Katie was thinking that she might be a little tired and she wanted to take today off. So on Monday, she asked me if I could come this week. And I said, oh, sure. I remember the way down there. And whoever you are, quien quiera que seas, whomever you love, a quien ames, however you arrive today in body or mind or spirit, whether here in person or online. Wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here, and I am glad to be welcome myself. Bienvenidos aquí. If it is your first time, la primera vez, or your 500th time, I am told that we are all welcome here. And thank you for your attendance, online or otherwise. And we will continue with the service with the lighting of chalice.
Good morning. My name's Jerry, and I'll be your worship associate today. Terry Grimm will light our chalice. We light our chalice as a symbol of the light within us and the life that flows through the world around us. It is our beacon as we search for truth. It is the warmth in our hearts for love, and it is the energy that propels us to action. May we be kindled by our time together. And now if you'll stand as you're willing and able for our opening hymn, number 287. The words will be on the screen.
Church that is to be, oh my.
Our communities of memory and promise are founded upon covenants because we all need a defense against the impulse of immediate feelings that challenge our best intentions. It is necessary to be reminded from time to time of what you said you were going to do and what you really want, over and above the lure of momentary comfort. Covenant is our word for the solemn promises that counteract the randomness of a future in which anything and everything is possible, by committing us in advance to certain relationships and values. We do this because what we build with intention and even with difficulty is more satisfying in the long run than the pleasures that we happen to encounter. We do it in time-consuming rituals, invoking powers that we scarcely know how to name, because we are seeking some way to give our lives the density and dignity and depth that we suspect with longing might yet be possible. Please join me in saying our covenant together. This is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship. Thus do we covenant with one another. Now is the time we light candles of community. First, I'm going to light
Let us pause for a few moments of meditation, and for those who would call it prayer, let us pray. You have come together in community to celebrate the sense of belonging to something bigger than yourselves. We know how much concern there is among us for all those who are affected by the heedless actions of those in our governments who have decided that justice is not the highest aim of our society. Vengeance, retribution, and disregard for human rights is paramount. Let us affirm today, in this place, in this time, together, that what matters are the human beings, the ecosystem, the world that we inhabit and for which we have great responsibility. May we find the compassion and courage to get through the days ahead with confidence that the right will surpass the efforts of those who would diminish us all. Blessed be. Amen. Shanti.
You may remain seated and for our prayer and song, number 88.
If some of the younger folks would like to come forward and sit on the front pews or chairs, you're welcome. You can stay where you are if you'd rather. Okay, I understand. This is Mr. H. Several years ago, I was able to go to a conference, an interreligious conference, and one of the primary speakers was a woman named Jane Goodall. We lost Jane a couple of weeks ago from this earthly realm, but I've had the chance to spend a few minutes in the courtyard of the hotel with Jane and her version of this nice stuffed, what we would call a monkey. But I asked her, why do you carry that stuffed animal everywhere you go? She says, it reminds me of the generosity of spirit which someone showed me when they sent me a little animal just like this. Because when they sent it, they said, I wanted to honor your commitment to taking care of chimpanzees and taking care of all animals of the earth, and asking human beings everywhere to recognize the interdependence of existence. And she said she was most grateful to receive this from a man she called Mr. H. She said, "I must tell you, though, that when you intended to send me a chimpanzee, you didn't, because chimpanzees have no tail at all." And she said, "That doesn't matter, because your intentions and your actions were about honoring me, Jane Goodall, and also to honor my work." And that stuffed animal went with her the last 30 years of her life all around the world, because she would put it up, just as I have done here, to be a witness to the society that we live in and the need for us to be conscious of doing justice to all the global beings around us, being conscious of how we are so important to bringing about either the death of our planet or the prospering and life, the continuing life of an interdependent planet for all beings. And that is a brief sort of reference that I will come back to in our sermon this morning. So I think all of our youth, our children, are learning from your examples what matters most, what needs to be done, and bringing a global consciousness to everything we do. And thank you for your attention this morning.
Jace will be our keeper of the flame today.
I brought another short reading today from what for some of us has become an unfamiliar source of wisdom. It's called the Hebrew Bible. It's a particular section from the prophet Micah, from chapter 6, verse 8. After laying forth the potential for giving sacrifice to their God Jehovah or Yahweh, here's the nub of the reading. What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Wanted to talk to you today about justice. Our old second principle calls upon congregations to covenant with and to affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Our new motto, and the flower or the atom, the molecular model of the values of Unitarian Universalists, the center is love, and at the top is justice. Justice, the beginning of that nice acronym, JET-PIG, you may have heard of. We have a legacy of deeds, not creeds. As Unitarian Universalists, we are working for a better world, and that calls us to harness love's power to stop oppression, among other things. From grassroots community organizing to interfaith state, national, and corporate advocacy. In protest marches like yesterday, I heard this morning there may have been 7 million or more folks in our country demonstrating. My wife and I were in the Houston march and gathering. There were, I would say, at least 20,000, and some say as many as 40,000 folks on those streets, and 1,500, I understand, 1,400 or 1,500 here in Clear Lake. But then those protest marches, prayer vigils, and press conferences in homeless shelters and in prisons, Unitarian Universalists try to put our faith into action. Our justice efforts are grounded in our congregationally driven social justice statements and our call to break down divisions, heal isolation, and honor the interconnectedness of all life in all justice issues. And we try to model those commitments in our congregations by creating just, welcoming, and inclusive congregations. We act in partnerships with groups and communities most impacted by injustice at all levels. But before we go into a little bit more about justice, I wanted to talk about a different concept, a passive concept. It's called karma. Karma originates from Asian religions like Hinduism and Buddhism and represents a spiritual principle of cause and effect. It suggests that a person's actions and intentions determine their future experience, not just in this life, but in possible multiple lifetimes through reincarnation. Karma teaches that good deeds should result in future blessings, while evil actions lead to future suffering. Our popular Western understanding of karma often simplifies this to what goes around comes around, or you will get what you deserve somehow. And for many of us, it's very satisfying about that idea of karma, because when somebody cuts us off in traffic or betrays our trust, our hearts long for justice. We want the universe to balance the scales and show that actions do have consequences, even if we never actually see them ourselves. The appeal of karma runs deeper than we might want to admit. When the car that cut us off is stopped by police a couple of miles down the road, something within us feels vindicated. It's as if the universe confirms that we were wronged and our pain matters. But karma is offering a hands-off approach to justice. We don't have to dirty our hands with revenge or even wish ill upon others, because somehow the universe will take care of it. It provides a sense of order in what seems sometimes like a chaotic and unfair world. Seeing bad things happen to bad people reinforces our belief that justice exists, even if it takes time. And there's also something comforting about karma's predictability. Unlike our legal system's efforts to provide some sort of justice, it sometimes operates in ways we don't understand, on timelines we can't predict, and subject to certain whims of certain people about what they think is justice. Karma promises a clean and direct line between action and consequence. It offers an illusion of control in the world where we often feel powerless. When we say with resignation, karma will get them, we express our deep human need to see some sort of justice done and our own pain acknowledged. But when we think about justice more deeply, I wanted to share with you a few words from Robert Reich in his newest book, My wife and I went to see him give a talk at the synagogue in Houston, adjacent to Rice, a couple of months ago. In his book, he talks of social justice and economic justice. He says, a civil society doesn't allow the strong to brutalize the weak. A decent society is one that has moved as far as possible from that brutal state of nature. Of course, certain inequalities of power are expected, even in a civil society. Some people are bigger, stronger, smarter than others. Some have more forceful personalities. Some, we know, have fewer scruples. Some inequalities of income and wealth may actually be necessary to encourage hard work and inventiveness, from which all of society may benefit. But when inequalities become too wide, they invite abuses, which we are seeing every day now. Without the laws and norms in actual operation to protect the weaker, the stronger will abuse their positions of power, and their abuses invite further abuses. But some posit a moral equivalence between those who seek social justice and those who want to protect individual liberties, between the left and the right. But there is no moral equivalence between bullies and the bullied, between tyranny and democracy, between brutality and decency. No individual is truly free if the society is actually devoid of real justice. And so the struggle for social justice is the most basic struggle of all, because it defines how far the civilization is actually developed, what its true values are. But if we dig deeper into justice, it is defined as a fair and impartial treatment of individuals according to law. The cover photograph on your order of service is showing the plinth on the Supreme Court of the United States building. Equal justice before law, under the law. If the law is working, perhaps justice can be done. It is a fundamental principle that can maintain social order, protect rights of everyone, and ensure at least a measure of equality. So the purpose of justice in its purest form is to provide a framework for resolving conflicts and punishing wrongdoing in a manner that is both consistent and unbiased. We see bias in how the justice system is working in the federal system and also in many systems across the states. Vengeance, however, is driven by desire for personal retribution or revenge. It is an emotional response, a childlike response to one's perceived harm or injustice, which seeks to inflict harm or suffering upon the imagined offender. Unlike justice, vengeance is motivated by personal satisfaction rather than the greater good or any kind of social harmony. And that we could go on and speak of how vengeance is different because of the way it's pursued. Justice is typically administered through a formal legal system where impartial judges and juries can evaluate the evidence of what has happened, apply the law in an equal way, and determine appropriate punishments or remedies. It operates ideally within established legal frameworks to uphold the principle of due process. But vengeance is taken into one's own hands by those who have the power without regard for legal procedures or evidence. It often bypasses the formalities of the legal system and leading to subjective and potentially unjust outcomes, because individuals with that kind of power may act impulsively or disproportionately in their pursuit of personal revenge. Dr. Curtis Drew, who calls himself the helpful professor, has given us an outline of the different kinds of justice that is actually should be a part of every legal system. He says there are different ways of thinking about fairness and how to achieve it. And so the approaches to justice are variations on this. He lists, believe it or not, 10 different forms of justice to demonstrate the diversity of ways we ought to be working toward fairness in society. The first is, of course, retributive justice, meaning how to seek punishment or vengeance. The point of retributive justice is to punish someone for the wrongs they have done. You might seek this type of justice if you're bitter, if you want to see someone get their just desserts and you don't trust karma, or if you believe in black and white reward and punish moral frameworks. However, critics argue that retributive justice can lead to an endless cycle of violence because people want to take an eye for an eye. And there is a constant retribution between two extreme groups, which destroys social harmony and obviates any possibility of reconciliation. The second type is called distributive justice, to try to achieve equitable allocation of power and assets, resources, privileges within the society. The focus of this theory of justice is on achieving relatively equal degrees of power and wealth. This would involve ensuring nobody has an outrageous amount of wealth or power, and if they begin to exceed some measure of equality, then they may be asked to give up some of their power or wealth. The distributive justice theory has roots in social contract theory, developed over the last 300 years, mostly in England and in the 20th century by a philosopher named John Rawls, who argued that a just society is one where the distribution of resources aims to benefit the least advantaged members at the expense of the most advantaged members. The extreme equality would be where everybody has the same, which we know is not achievable. But equity is one of the arguments for that kind of distributive justice, where outcomes might be based upon the amount of effort and energy and skills that one brings to a task. Labor unions, for example, seek more equitable outcomes in the workplace between those who are shareholders and those who are the workers who actually provide the service or product. But power, and for those who are in authority and have status and higher power, that is an actual perversion of a distributive idea of justice. Number 3 of the types of justice are restorative justice, to repair past wrongs, possibly to ensure that there are reparations for those who have been damaged by the actions of others. In criminal justice, a restorative approach would involve a long process between the victims and the offender and the community in coming to an agreement on how to make up for the crimes to victims and society. Victim-offender mediation, family group conferencing, healing circles, and community reparations. I read recently of a city on the coast of California where a group of families had been, the property that they had owned for generations was taken from them unfairly and made into some sort of a park for the other parts of the community without due payment for the actual value of the property that was being taken. And after 75 years, the city decided that they needed to pay those folks a fair return on the property that was taken from them. In working through this equity idea, the victims are given a platform to express their feelings and express the impact of the offense on their lives and participate in the process of finding a resolution of the damage that was given to them. but it depends on the willingness and readiness of both the offender and the victim to engage in the process. Number 4, the procedural justice, where we actually allow for due process before a procedure to enact justice is actually performed. And we know all of that about any criminal case of where there are lawyers in court. They're arguing about how much due process is necessary and how much is actually expected. So we expect also that the judge or the court or the jury will be able to administer justice and administer the laws without bias. And if this is the common practice, then we trust in justice. We trust that the law will provide. And the idea of that we're innocent until proven guilty is about that due process. Number 5 is the one that we really focus on mostly in Unitarian Universalism, social justice, which applies the theories of procedural and distributive justice to try to create a better society where equality and fairness are established and maintained. But we know that social justice is also subjective, and it may influence whether health care, housing, and minimum wage are either rights or privileges in the society in which we find ourselves. Much of Europe has determined that health care and housing and minimum compensation are rights. And we in this country have had sort of a swinging pendulum about how much is a right and how much is a privilege. And right now, at this time, we see more and more insistence that the federal government, the state government, the local government cannot afford to actually provide minimum standards of health or housing or even living standards of how food is distributed. We must avoid discrimination on the basis of race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, and other factors, because we must dismantle the barriers and structures that lead to inequality and create the optimal social conditions where everyone has a better access, a more equal access to opportunity and resources. And that's the continuing debate right now, especially the last year. How much is fair? 6, the interdependent web, of which Jane Goodall spoke, has 2 key ideas: that all people equally have the right to safe and clean environment, and that some people are inequitably affected by environmental degradation. The premise here is that those who create more damage have greater responsibility to protect and assist those who are most vulnerable to the costs of the damage to the environment that they have caused. Proceeding for this position, environmental justice advocates, like many Unitarian Universalists, advocate for distributive justice like a carbon tax and allowing for those who have been damaged because of pollution or climate change that's caused by heat and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere to sue for reparations if they can, and to punish polluters and encourage them to diminish the amount of damage they are doing. Number 7 in the justice definition is economic justice, about fair distribution of the economic resources. It posits that every individual must possess at least an opportunity to acquire the basic necessities of life, irrespective of their social, economic, or political status. Number 8 is, of course, criminal justice for the practices and institutions of governments for controlling the actions of all of society to deter and also to mitigate crime, and sanctioning those who violate laws with criminal penalties or rehabilitation. And that, as we know from from many of the programs that are on television this last 25 years, law enforcement, the courts, the police and corrections. Law and order is what we see. It should be fairly applied to everyone. The system must operate on principles of fairness to ensure that the laws are applied equitably and impartially, to protect individuals' rights against arbitrary and abusive uses of government power or economic power. Number 9, corrective justice to rectify the wrongs done to individuals. And number 10, the global justice, the fair treatment of individuals regardless of the nationality, where they come from, or where they live. All should have the same basic rights, protections, and opportunities. Global justice, in the ideal world, could be even delivered on the international arena through the United Nations or the International Court of Justice in The Hague, because of special laws for crimes against humanity. However, all of this is ideal. All of this is what we would prefer. All of this is what we should be seeking. And what we are finding now is that those who have power and are willing to abuse it and willing to pervert the systems of justice, the laws themselves, are at this time seeking to increase their wealth, increase their power at the expense of all of us and at the expense of the earth itself. We know that we are not powerless. We are feeling a degree of helplessness that we can only manifest that we have power collectively. If we come together and we make statements in community and we continue to advocate for what we know is right, and if we continue to band together and to make statements through our actual physical bodies in community, as we did yesterday. How many here yesterday were in some sort of a gathering about no kings? Good for you. And those who were not able or willing to stand in the heat or walk for miles, how many of us are giving our support? How many of us are trying to do what we can? We write checks, we authorize deductions from our checking accounts, from our credit cards. We send money to support the causes that we believe are right, that we know that we have to not give up. I'll have some closing words from Jane Goodall in a few moments, but I want to affirm that this community and Unitarian Universalist communities, not only in the United States, but all over the world, are making these statements that justice must be provided for, that there are better forms of justice than we see demonstrated through our federal government today. We are holding out hope. We are not just holding out hope, though. We are doing our small part over and over every day. We testify to our neighbors. We talk among ourselves to try to determine the optimal ways to support the actual systems of justice that we can trust. And so, as we come together in communities on Sunday morning, we are looking for affirmation. We are looking for reinforcement that we're not crazy, that we are the ones who are sane, and that those who are trying to take away the rights and pervert justice, they're the ones that have to be corrected, and they must be brought to justice. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not in a year, but they will somehow. We want to say karma will get them, and the law will get them, because we will not give up. Thank you for your attention this morning. Our next thing in the service is sharing our abundance. Okay.
We are a people of abundance, rich in spirit and blessed to have this wonderful church to call our home. It is in sharing what we have and working together that we live out our mission to change lives and heal the world. This mission calls us to see ourselves as part of something larger, to recognize and engage with societal systems and cultural attitudes. Your contribution of time, talent, and treasure to this church are the one way of living out this call. As we pass the plate this morning, please give with a generous heart. Please join me in blessing the offering. This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world. So we have some announcements today. They're over here. Join us next Sunday for our annual Fall Festival, a beloved BAUUC tradition of fun, food, and community. All proceeds go to UNICEF in honor of Brenda Cockrell, who helped make this event such a joyful part of our church life. Enjoy games, great foods, and our famous baked goods auction. You can use the QR code on the screen to sign up to donate a cake, pie, or other treat. It's a delicious way to support a great cause. Feeling creative? Enter the pumpkin carving contest. Entries for ages 14 and up are due by 12:30 in Cockrell Hall, with prizes for most creative and spookiest designs. Come be a part of the fun and help make this a fall festival to remember, all for a good cause. If you'd like to help with the fall festival, there's a planning meeting today at 12:30 in room 103-104. We still need volunteers, so please stop by and lend a hand. Our Day of the Dead Fiesta will take place on Saturday, November 2nd at 12:30 p.m. in Cockrell Hall, presented by Hispanics Advancing Culture and Education and the Covenant of UU Pagans. The theme this year is the Spanish diaspora, with dishes, games, and music from around the world. If you'd like to honor your ancestors, you can begin dropping off framed photos to the office starting today. Please be sure to include your name on the back of the photo. The ofrenda will be set up after the Fall Festival on October 26th and will remain in place through the celebration. Mark your calendars for Saturday, November 15th at 3 p.m. for our annual service auction. We're holding it in the afternoon this year so more people can join the fun. If you're new to BAUUC, the bid on experiences and services donated by members, like a homemade dinner, a guided outing, music, art lessons, pet sitting, or help with a project, it's a wonderful way to share your talents, connect with others, and support the church. We want everyone to participate. Think about a service or talent you have and sign up to donate. It can be big or small, simple or creative. You can use the QR code on the screen to make your donation or email serviceauction@bauuc.org if you have questions. Childcare will be provided and appetizers are BYOB. Come be a part of the fun and help celebrate our beloved community under the umbrella of love. The community blood drive is happening today. There may still be spots available. You can stop by the table in Cockrell Hall and sign up. Donating blood is a simple way to make a life-saving difference for someone in need. If you are unable to donate today, you can give at any local donation center and request your donation be credited to BAUUC's account. Everyone is welcome to join us after service today for coffee and light snacks in Cockrell Hall, a great time to meet new friends and catch up with old ones. And finally, if you're new to BAUUC, we welcome you and want you to stay connected. Scan the QR code on the screen to sign up for our weekly email. It's the easiest way to keep up with everything that's happening here. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you to Cheryl. Thank you to Cliff. Thank you to our pianist, Victor. Very, very impressive. I want to make sure that everybody knows that the community is what matters. Our closing song is number 108, My Life Flows On in an Endless Song. No? That's what it says here. Oh. Number 119, okay, we'll do that. I like that one better. 119, okay. let's do 108. Let's do 108. You may have to pull out a book and look in 108. My life flows on an endless song. That's the first line. Please remain standing for our benediction. We must take confidence. Jane Goodall, in April, did a video recording interview, which she asked not to be released until after she died. Some of you may have heard of one of her wishes, which was to let Elon go to Mars, along with several other folks. But she also went on to say these words: I want to make sure that you all understand, and each and every one of you has a role to play. You may not know it, you may not find it, but your life matters, and you are here for a reason. And I just hope that reason will become apparent as you live through your life. I want you to know that whether or not you find that role that you're supposed to play, your life does matter. And that every single day you live, you make a difference in the world, and you get to choose the difference that you make. I want you to understand that we are part of a natural world. And even today, and I'll add a few words here, when the planet is dark and our country's sense of justice is perverted, there still is hope. Don't lose hope. If you lose hope, you may become apathetic and do nothing. And if you want to save what is still beautiful in this world, and if you want to save the planet and our country for the future generations, for your grandchildren, their grandchildren, for your nieces, nephews, and for humanity and all posterity, then think about the actions you are taking each day. Because multiplied a billion times, even small actions will make for great change. Go with courage, go with hope, go with love. Go in peace for another day. Blessed be.